If your smartphone dropped to like just 3% battery and suddenly the screen went blurry, you'd probably panic, right? But if you're out on a hike today, well, there's a good chance you were letting that exact same 3% drop happen to your brain without even realizing it.
Yeah, it's wild. That 3% threshold is basically where cognitive decline really kicks in. We've been looking over some fascinating notes from a nature and innovation class, specifically focusing on how these two students, Steen and his buddy Kesser, are, trying to figure out the actual biology of staying hydrated on their outdoor explorations.
Right. And our mission today for this deep dive is to really unpack that biology because, I mean, most of us treat our stomachs like simple storage tanks,
Yeah.
just pouring water in and
Yeah.
assuming it just sloshes right into our bloodstream.
Exactly. But the mechanics of how we actually absorb water are completely different. And the physical drop-off from dehydration is, well, it's incredibly steep. Like Steen's dad pointed out in the sources that a 10% loss in body water completely tanks your athletic
Oh,
performance.
wow, 10%.
Yeah, 10%. That's
Yeah.
why you see Tour de France cyclists constantly tossing empty bottles over their shoulders. That continuous intake is literal survival for their muscles. Once you hit that 10% deficit, your output just crashes completely.
It's crazy to think about the mental side too, though, because Steen and Kesser noted a conversation they overheard from lifeguards at the beach, pointing out how just a 3% fluid loss ruins your mental concentration.
Right. And you definitely want the lifeguard watching you to be fully hydrated, not, the one who skipped lunch and forgot their water bottle.
For sure. But see, knowing that a measly 3% drop messes with my focus, my immediate instinct is to just like chug a massive jug of water right before hitting the trail. I mean, I'd way rather top off completely at the car than carry a heavy stainless steel bottle up a mountain.
I get that. But the math on that just doesn't work out. A person needs roughly 2 liters of fluid a day, sure, but a huge portion of that is extracted from the food you eat.
Wait, really? So chugging doesn't help?
Not like you'd think. Your small intestine can only physically process and absorb about 1 liter of liquid per hour.
Wait, so if I chug like a liter and a half right before I bike out, the excess isn't just sitting there waiting its turn?
No, not
Okay.
at all. It's flushing straight through your system and stripping out your body's electrolytes along the way.
Oh, man. So I'm actively dehydrating myself by trying to pre-water?
Pretty much, yeah. The excess liquid actually triggers a diuretic response.
Yeah.
It rushes through your system, pulling those vital electrolytes out. You literally leave yourself worse off than if you hadn't chugged at all.
Okay, so if chugging strips the body of nutrients, we need to look at what actually gets water across the intestinal wall efficiently. We're talking about the sodium-glucose co-transport system, right?
Spot on.
Hmm.
That is the engine driving hydration.
Mm-hmm.
Because water doesn't just passively seep into your bloodstream. The small intestine relies on sodium and glucose binding to specific protein receptors.
Right.
And when they cross the cellular membrane together, they shift the osmotic gradient. So that rapid shift in concentration is what actively pulls water molecules across the intestinal wall and into your blood.
Okay, so basically, the sodium and glucose act like, I don't know, molecular bouncers dragging the water molecules through the door, which means all those neon-colored sports drinks we buy are just overpriced sugar water, right? I could just eat a handful of pretzels and an apple on the trail and get the exact same biological shift.
Exactly. A standard snack or a meal eaten alongside a single glass of water provides the absolute perfect chemical balance for fast absorption. The sports drink industry has basically just commercialized a mechanism your body already runs naturally every time you eat.
That is so interesting. So the ultimate takeaway from Kesser and Steen's nature trips is surprisingly low-tech. Just skip the chugging, sip glass by glass, and always pack a snack.
Yep, real food and steady sipping.
Obviously, a quick disclaimer, don't swap out your doctor's actual medical advice for our hiking hacks. But for a standard summer adventure, that's really all you need.
For sure. And because you're relying on food for that absorption process, it's worth noting what happens when your body actually burns through that fuel on the trail.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the cellular respiration process that burns your energy technically creates H2O as a byproduct.
Wait, and we just breathe it out.
A significant amount of it, yeah. You exhale water vapor constantly.
That is wild. Consider that on your next hike, guys. As you push yourself up a steep incline, breathing heavily, think about how much of your hydration is literally vanishing into thin air with every single breath.